thing I am very excited to talk about, and that is Anna Kendrick's new movie, which she starred and directed in. It's called Woman of the Year. She plays the character Cheryl, whom I did not look up the true story. I've heard it. I've seen glimpses of it somewhere, but I never watched the full thing, so I don't know much about it. But it's the true story of a serial killer that was on the dating game, and she was the young woman who was, kind of asking the questions. 3 suitors, and he was suitor number 3. His name, I'm not even saying his name because he was a vicious serial killer. Fuck. So he was on the show. He had killed a number of women beforehand. Like I think they estimated it around 5 to 7. I think is what they settled on, but it could be any more than that because you don't really know. He had like a lot of pictures. He was a photographer, and it's weird. What I liked about this movie, and not to spoil it too much, but like Anna Kendrick takes the director's chair. She takes the starring role as Cheryl, who's on the dating game and a struggling actress. The things I really liked about this was she tells the story of the victims and she puts the spotlight on that more. Yep. And they're told in a very interesting way. So like if you had heard the story on YouTube, oh, there was a serial killer in a dating game, you would have never known who his victims were. But she took the time to actually do the research, film it in the right way, get it right, make sure these women were not dismissed or treated poorly, or portrayed poorly, I should say. I think she did a fantastic job in that realm. With the dating game aspect, it got me feeling hot under the collar. I'm like, with the one woman who's trying to turn this guy into nobody who will listen. Then she's trying to deal with it and goes on a date with him afterwards. Like just a whole back and forth. Very well done. Mm-hmm. Here's my thing about it. I get the point of what she was trying to say and the message of how women are treated in Hollywood. But it seems like every time we weren't watching something that was driving the story forward, we were seeing something to remind us of that. Right. And that kept taking me away from the story. Not that I don't think it's an important message to put forth. And I'm not saying that it shouldn't be there, those little things. But every single time it felt like that was an interlude to the next thing that will drive the story forward. And it really did take me out of the story quite a bit. Now, for you, how did you feel about this watch?
I enjoyed it. I was excited to see her, directing debut. So I was impressed. I've heard this story through the podcast I listen to, the different podcasts I listen to.
Oh, give him a shout out.
Okay, so that's My Favorite Murder. I'm not trying to incriminate myself this time. But yeah, so they've talked about this, and they do a good job about talking about the victims a lot more as well. So I did appreciate that aspect of visually, her doing it as well, because I do think that's important. I think a lot of times, people act like they're excited to hear about Ted Bundy or all these big serial killers, but you guys don't know the victims. Like, that's someone's sister, that's their son, that's their daughter, that's their dad or mom. And I feel like a lot of times we disassociate. So this one, I think, did a good job of bringing us back. I do agree with you. There were too much leaning that way where you kind of lost, like you've kind of almost forgot kind of what was going on. Then you're like, oh yeah, it's about this story in particular.
And if I could just add to that, like I understood the message of like women have to deal with this on top of possibly going on a date to a place with a serial killer because nobody vetted this fucking guy or will listen. Like, I get what she was trying to convey in that. I just felt it was too many things that happened and were taking away from me wanting to like jump to the next thing. So I feel bad. Like, I don't want to shit on the movie and say like it's terrible addition or anything, but it really, like, I got it, but it was just a little too much.
I enjoyed, whether it be the actor or her directing, I enjoyed kind of watching his mental health. It kind of reminded me of almost not to that extreme, but almost like Joker. Like, you could tell, being rejected, you kind of could see him reacting to certain things. And I did enjoy that aspect because, as far as from what I've heard from the story, that's what happened. That's what caused him to kill, unfortunately, more victims. Is he didn't know how to handle rejection because he thought he was the one. The psychics told you were the one. He thought he was the one.
But that's the thing. I knew, like, and that's and I want to say this to all the guys out there who are like this dude to a degree. If you can't get over rejection, what strength do you have? I don't care if you can lift a fucking boat over your head. If anyone rejects you in anything and your first thought is, I want to burn everything down, you have no mental maturity, and you're just like these idiots who smoke cigars on YouTube who are screaming about women and how they're not traditional and everything's wrong with the world. Good luck. Rejection means nothing. It's a no. Let it go and move on. That's what I've learned through my life. You know, I'm not saying I was perfect or anything like that, but that's what you learn and you grow up from. That's called maturing. And I want to point that out because this dude was infuriating throughout the entire fucking movie.
Right.
Everything he said, even when he was slyly saying things to her, like, oh yeah, he's like, oh yeah, this guy. And like, I just hate you're so
I
fake.
hated him.
Everything about him. I was like, this is, and he even looked like a potato with long hair. Like everything about this guy, I could not take him. That being said, great freaking movie, great performances, pulled a lot of stuff out of me. My rating for this was 3.5 out of 5, 3.5 out of 5, and yours was 3 out of 5. I definitely say people should check this out, and I cannot wait to see more directed work from Anna Kendrick.
Yes. Yep. Yeah, I'm excited.
And I want to point out, not to like stir the pot because I don't love being scandalous, but I do love, like, after hearing A Simple Favor and all the crap that Anna Kendrick had to kind of go through on that, you know, all the rumors and stuff, and I'm saying the rumors, that both of them put out movies this year, and one of them did a hell of a fucking job, and it wasn't The Tall Blonde. So that's all I'm going to say about that. We'll never get Ryan Reynolds on the show, so I don't care. But this movie's great. I think everybody check it out. It's on Netflix now. Woman of the Year. It starts slow. I will say that. Well, no, I shouldn't say it starts slow. Kind of kicks off right off the bat. But when I say, like, if you're looking for Anna Kendrick and what's going to happen, the connection, I mean, it starts very slow and it slow burns in that instance. This dude's story and the women, his unfortunate victims, it does not. So it's crazy, and it will infuriate you if you're not a man, babe. That's our ratings. Thanks for watching. Right?